Welcome back to the Two Pondering Pagans. I'm Salann,
And I'm Rook.
and we've got some shadow issues,
Yes, we do. We're back for the second part of Chapter 2 in Tarot's Shadow Work by Christine Jete.
which means this is episode cuatro.
Four.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
So, Salon, where are you tonight while we're recording this? We're in two different cities.
Well, I'm obviously not home.
Not
This
home.
is Newark, Delaware.
Ah,
I spent a lot of time here. But behind me, you see my reflections, yeah.
yeah, I see
So
your
you see
hand.
the Two Stones Pub, which I eat at a lot on, I forgot the name of the road already, Concord Lane. Yeah, so I'm in Delaware. I'll be in New Jersey tomorrow and Thursday. So yeah, that's what you see. I'm in the corner of a hotel room. It's always exciting.
That's kind of up high. That'd be cool if that was a house to be up that high. That'd be
Yeah,
a.
I feel like I'm kind of like on the like a high office because with all the travel delays and stuff, I'm only gonna be here for a day and a half basically.
Oh.
Ew, yeah.
Well, I'm at home in Florida, southeast Florida. No,
You're actually in Southwest Florida.
southwest Florida, and I'm here. If you hear them, with three Chihuahuas and a big Samoyed.
So where's the fourth Chihuahua?
Uh, Iris is out in the living room on the couch, most probably. They're probably
That is
hungry.
you.
It is like time for them to
After
eat.
8.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so obviously we're continuing into our fourth episode. Um, I know a lot of people have really been interested in, kind of, I don't want to say jumping in because it's not like it's our thing, but a lot of people are interested in the shadow work and really kind of involving themselves. Of course, our practice is going to be specific to us, and what we're doing, which is cool. But and everybody else is going to have a different experience. So it's kind of cool. We've got group members, tribe members that are working it, and it's very very neat to kind of see so many people getting involved in this the shadow work process. So hopefully. We're going to be having a live session soon where we have some participants who either have started maybe at different parts of the book that will kind of live panel discuss it. Maybe we'll even make it a Sunday service topic.
That'd be awesome. It is. It was pleasantly surprising how many people were even interested in the topic. It started out. I think we both, for different reasons, wanted to go into intentional shadow work, and through one of our contacts, found this book, and it was like the universe brought it up at the perfect time for what we both wanted to do. And it's very thorough. Like, we're covering the second part of chapter 2 today, and they're pretty lengthy chapters. Obviously, we've split them up, but it's a lot of prep reading and work before we haven't even started. I mean, the shadow work,
Yeah.
which I like. She's very, very thorough.
Yeah, and the other thing is we're going to I don't think I have a very good ASMR voice, but I think we're going to put out a couple of our the grounding and centering, which is going to be our first topic. Mantras, chants, meditations, breathing exercises to kind of accompany this. Because this is going to be, I think this is going to be a short video because most of it is the actual exercises and practices. So we want to do those separately. Like we're practicing this as we go. So we'll talk about it in this episode a little bit. Like I said, probably be a shorter episode. And then we will release separately our interpretations of the meditations. don't judge how we sound if you don't like it, but we're doing this as our documentation for us, So um,
I'll try
we're
to
not
turn off.
professional readers.
I'll try to turn off the Texas twang to do meditation for
No, you need to leave that
ASMRs.
on there. Leave it on. Leave it on.
Now close your eyes. Picture you're in a
Oh, Theo
big
would laugh so much
field of
all the time.
cows. Picture you go
Moo.
up to the cow. Instead of tipping it, you stroke its back down to its tail. Moo. Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's scary.
I think I'd make a good meditator.
Yeah,
Meditation.
you would be a good meditator. You just need to meditate.
Oh, oh,
So,
yeah.
grounding, centering, and the circle of protection is where we're starting, right?
Yeah,
So
why
the
is that?
exercise starts, huh?
Oh, I was just saying, why is that important to shadow work? We're going to probably find out.
Grounding, centering, circle of protection. That really is the starting point, and this is really kind of like a starting point for a lot of things, right? And ritual and all different kinds of discussions and things that we do, we start usually with some type of grounding or centering. They're a little bit different, and then circle of protection, which is also a little bit different. Um, and in this one, she really kind of goes through what I like is it's basic, but it's effective, and you don't have to be complex. You know what I mean? So, did you have something you wanted to share?
I'm sorry. I was laughing at the dogs.
What were
They're
they doing?
playing loudly, and Tina was posturing like a bully to Finn, and then Finn got scared and took off. This process, and for me it might take a little longer, I'll let you know, but it should take initially about 15 to 20 minutes. Once you have practice, it should take about 3 minutes to get there. You want to relax your mind, quiet it, relax your body, calm your emotions, and to get to that point where you witness the shadow. Grounding and centering prepares you to meet the shadow and with awareness and the capacity to respond appropriately. So, I think it kind of relaxes you and gets you to that point to where you can deal with it and process it versus being in a regular or possibly more anxious state or defensive state. I think for me, without grounding and centering, coming across the shadow I would be more defensive and less able to take it in. But you, of course, want to be in a room, preferably in front of your shadow altar, free of distractions. You want to just turn off your phone or put it in the other room. Of course, you might even want to turn the phone off, dim your lights, light some candles, light some incense. If you're like Mystic or Salann, you could turn on some music. That doesn't work for me. I have to have it quiet to be able to focus, but whatever makes you feel comfortable and able to calm and focus on the grounding and centering.
One of the things that I find interesting for me is, different people are going to do it different ways. I can get to my, what she calls a safe space, but in many different practices, this could be like your sacred grove in the Druid traditions, or your sacred altar in some Wiccan traditions, or your actual place that you're imaging or imagining, where you go to actually do practice. And it's a place where you always are comfortable, where you always are safe. And the idea behind grounding is to kind of put your mind and your body and your spirit in a place where they are all aligned and together and ready to actually allow for things to happen in their own way. So much like Rook was saying, he doesn't use music, and I do. For me, if I don't have music, I will tend to latch on any sound that happens, and it breaks my concentration. So with the music, I can latch onto that communication, find that rhythm of something and continue it, and that helps keep me paying attention to what's actually happening. But everybody's going to be different. And the goal is not just relaxation, even though that is a great side effect of grounding. But it is really about, just like it sounds, you're imagining yourself grounded. You are allowing, as some people would say, the extra energy and electricity to leave your body through to the ground, just like a lightning rod would allow the lightning energy to get to the ground. And then centering, a little bit different. Centering is a little bit more when you start doing the imagery,
Mm-hmm.
or using your imagination to draw everything to an even centered spot. And they go hand in hand. Some people separate it, some don't. I don't. I think grounding and centering work best when they're done together as a unit. My personal version of grounding and centering starts with the universal light coming in through the top of my head, and I literally picture like my head like a bowl cut, just cutting off, and my head just lifts up like a trash can where you step on the foot. It just
Mm.
bloop. That's exactly what my image is, and I see that light that comes from the source coming down into my head, and then it goes all the way to my butt, or my root, sacrum, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown, and fills up each of those chakras one at a time. And then once they're all filled up and balanced, then I see that energy go down through my feet into the earth all the way to the core, which is the grounding, and connecting. And then the centering is when I really roll into the breathing part of it, which is I do the fourfold breath, depending on what the energy is, whether it's solar, lunar, or other, or just the breathing exercise. And that is kind of how I do mine. The one that she does is very specific, and I'm going to follow it. I'm not going to do my normal practice. I'm going to alter it to match what she's talked about in her thing. And we will, I think, do a good video where we're walking through some of these pieces. And some of the verbalizations she has, I think, are very, very important. Like the charging of the circle with perfect energies. I'm embracing my dark shadow. I'm healing and becoming whole. I think those things are important to say out loud, because that's what's going to recondition your mind to actually coming through to that point. So very cool, to me, process, and spending all of this time, 4 full episodes up to this point, has been really, I think, just impresses how important it is to really follow the process and really prepare.
Preparation. I know one thing I'm going to have to work on is there's a lot of breathing in and breathing out, and I have a hard time with that. So, but I am going to follow it. She does recommend for in the book to record the meditations on a tape recorder or something where you can play it back versus reading the book trying to meditate. And so that's definitely, we'll definitely be doing that, or I will, to play it back, and we'll do one. That's where we'll also do a recording separately to kind of try to guide people into the meditation, those who wish to. Tina.
And so the next section that we kind of roll into is the three faces of the goddess. I think we're all very familiar with the triple moon, maiden, mother, crone. There's a lot of different interpretations and archetypes for this, even for the youth father sage, is, for the masculine energy. But shadow work takes the crone as its divine focus, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But you have to go with who you feel is most comfortable. Just because it's the dark goddess, we're not talking about, like this negative, horrible energy. It's selecting the goddess that represents the crone, or that waning time, that waning of things, or of the things that have, quote unquote, been stuffed into that long bag of shadow. For me, it's going to be Ellen of the Ways. Ellen of the Ways is not typically seen as a crone image. She is more of the mother, the elder of the crossroads, though, and there are archetypes that fit with her, as she is the protector of all pathways, whether they are on water, land, air. She protects roads and pathways. And so as I walk the pathway of the shadow and visit what is going to be happening, I have Elin, however you want to say it, to kind of guide me for that. So that's going to be interesting. And she talks about in the book, she goes through the maiden, the mother, and the crone, and why the crone is the choice for shadow work, mostly because of the profound spiritual healing and peaceful endings and protection. I think those probably the key phrases or pieces, archetypes, whatever you want to call them, that makes sense for her.
And she's the crone is the keeper of the mysteries at the gateway to the underworld. A goddess of
Hmm.
prophecy, sees past, present, and future all at once. Well, thank you, Tina. She's also the goddess of retribution and justice. But according to this book, she doesn't waste time with petitions that are unfair, unjust in nature. You have to come with a pure intent to meet that shadow and to not harm anyone else either. This is all about, work within yourself. And I'm going to reach out and request from Caradwin to work with her and see if I get a response.
Thought you would have gone through Muerta.
I really want to do Santa Muerta. And I kind of think, because I've been lighting her candle and filling her water cup, she might be jealous if I don't. I'll have to see what energy feels right, but I would love to work with Santa Muerta.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I think that's finding the one that works for you is going to be important. But as we go through this working, a lot of this reading kind of gives you and tells you how to do the process. And just like other issues we've had in the past with online like rituals and stuff, you can't read it and do it at the same time. So that's kind of one of the
No.
reasons we want to. And she even says to record them,
Right.
right? And record yourself reading through it and then play it back so that you can be doing the things that you're saying that you're doing instead of just reading it and going back and forth, because that kind of breaks the cycle. So as we move into encountering the dark goddess, we have this visualization that she talks about, and she really talks about that safe and that protection, the comfort, and it's very similar actually to past life regression practice that we did a couple years ago with Joy, which I was really excited about, and I want to do again very soon. But it is very similar, walking through the bridge, the three roads that are converging, the past, present, and future, and walking through each of those things and each of those visualizations is going to be hard if you're reading. So whether you listen to us when we put those out there, we're going to read it word for word and give credit for that. In some of those places, we may have to change a few things at times. But if our video and voice doesn't make it for you, then you really should just record your own. Let go of how you think you sound, because everybody pretty much either thinks they either sound perfectly amazing or terrible. And play it back to yourself and listen to the process and go through the actual steps and then write it down. So that'll be separate.
Sorry, I keep looking over because I've been tasked to make sure this doesn't stop recording like it did in the second video.
Okay.
And then the third, in one of them, there was no audio. You couldn't hear Salann, Natawan.
Sure couldn't.
But yeah, definitely it's a good idea. I agree to record it. And going through these, she recommends about 20 minutes to phrase, do the phrasing, and to work your way through it slowly. It's definitely not something you want to rush. It's not a
Yeah. Well,
race.
a big part of it too is practicing and experience, right? You're not just going to want to read through it one time, like, oh, I did my shadow work, I'm done.
Right.
You're going to want to practice meditations, and then you're going to recognize the benefit that practice has in other areas, and you're going to want to do it in other areas. It's a lifelong practice, hopefully, that we will address through the book, but then we're going to continue addressing it in different ways. So very fun. I'm excited.
Because I'm not the most experienced or fond of meditation, there's a section, it's actually headed Why Meditate? Well, it's ancient. It was practiced in Hindu, Taoist, and Buddhist traditions. But what I liked about it, not so much that, is what does it do to the body, the physical effects on the autonomic nervous system. It decreases the heart rate, lowers blood pressure, decreases respiratory rate, decreases the amount of oxygen that you're consuming. You think about it, when you get really relaxed, you are kind of like breathing shallow, right? Once you get there, you're not breathing real deep. And it decreases brainwave activity and gives, through all that, a calming sense of control over our emotions. I really like that section. So it'll help me be a little bit more positive about thinking of meditating.
Well, a lot of people just get really frustrated with the breathing techniques, and you know what? I didn't. I got lucky. I just didn't do it right for a long time.
Yeah.
I just did the breathing because I thought you were supposed to breathe and you're supposed to clear your mind. I learned that you can't clear your mind. At least I can't, and I'm okay with that. So whenever other things float into my mind when I'm meditating, they just float in, and you just softly pat them off to the side, and they float right back out.
Let them
And you get right
go.
back to what you're doing. One thing that I found very helpful is music, but it's very specific music. Like it can't be singing. If there's singing in it, it does not work. So one of the sounds I use is binaural beats, which is a very common. I've been using binaural beats for at least 15, almost 20 years. They only work when you have headphones on. And so ultimately, and there's different kinds. So binaural beats can be just the binaural beats, which truly isn't a beat at all. It's tone. Or it can be mixed with other sounds like rain or other music and stuff. And that kind doesn't work for me. It's just the pure tone that I have to listen to. In areas where I have done astral travel or really learned or unlocked certain parts of my psyche or gotten into truly how to properly meditate, it has been with binaural beats. And so basically what it does is it plays two frequencies, one in each ear, but they're slightly different. The difference of the frequency is supposed to be matched up to the frequency of the brain wave, and that your brain can then be entrained to that wave, whether it's alpha, beta, theta, delta, not in that order, gamma, I think they're all in there. And so each of those is a different state, right? You have your deep sleep, you have your light sleep, you have your lucid dreaming
Mm.
frequencies, and you don't just play them and it does it. Like you have to practice with it, and so that is something that works for me. If I play, I did some today on the plane when I was flying in, and I literally lost the entire time of flight. So when I got on the plane, before we took off, I had binaural beats playing, just the tones, and I had them on my headphones. I did not fall asleep. I remember thinking and everything that I did, but it literally, all of a sudden, we were landing. A 3 hour flight. And so binaural beats, it just helps me train my brain into what I'm trying to get it to do. And it helps me swipe those things off to the side that I don't want to see. But another method of meditation initially when you're learning is just picture one thing or one type of thing and let it flow in and out, almost like an artistic 1970s psychedelic style painting in your head. If you're good at visualizing color and things, start with a flower, and you basically in your head, as part of the meditation, if you can't breathe, which you do need to get practice doing, but if you're doing the breathing like it's just not working, you go, okay, I want to picture this flower. It's round. It has tons of petals all around it. They appear very soft. They're yellow. They're very beautiful. And then you just kind of see it morph into like a rose or morph into, this is just one example. But the idea is to, instead of clearing your mind, the idea is to focus on one thing in your mind first. Once you get that down, the breathing becomes easier because then you're focusing on that breathing practice, and you let the other things around it fall out.
And just allow distractions. That's what gets me. And so I get distracted, I get frustrated, and it says don't get frustrated with yourself. Allow those things to come in and let them go. Don't hang on to them. Know the things that distract you and how your mind complains that it's bored and has nothing to do, or tells you what you should be doing. Oh God, I really got to go clean this. Got to pick the kids up. I got to go do the dishes. I really need to do laundry. I need to, kind of.
Yeah, and I know you don't use music, and I would never force my practice on somebody, but you might want to just consider different types of it, whether a specific beat or something might work for you. But again, it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
And I want to point out too, what you were just talking about. You cannot force meditation. You must wait for it to happen. Visualization is a simple method. Imagery is very important. Gradually get to that safe, calming space. Chanting. Some people like bells. Some people like tambourines. That would drive me nuts. I would not be able to do that one. Bells, just would not work for me. But white noise would.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. And then she really goes into talking about dealing with the distractions. Like that's literally the number one thing that people get frustrated about. Like, it's you get mad at yourself, like, oh my God, I just can't do this. This is ridiculous. I'm like, no, just I don't know, picture a cat swiping or a thing comes in your head, just picture the cat. Bat it off.
And then you can also kind of bring it back gently to your breathing. Focus on your breathing again, and that gets you kind of back focused. It is very easy to get distracted, but don't get frustrated or angry because that just interrupts your process and what you're trying to do. Don't be mad, just let it flow back out.
I like where she says, note the things that distract you and how your mind complains that it has nothing to do and is bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
Treat your mind kindly but firmly, much like a child learning an important skill. That's very important. Kindly but firmly. The way we should be doing everything, really. Ritual is important, as in meditation ritual. I don't do it as ritualistic as I should. I do it often in the hotels. I do it when I'm stressed out. But doing it every day, once you get into that habit of really doing it, you get it down to 3 to 5 minutes. And that is true. I can go out into the car now when I'm really frustrated, and I can get to a meditative state in my mind in just a few moments with lots of practice. So that doing it consistently is going to be important. And I don't think we're going to go into detail on the healing heart meditation. It's really pretty.
We will record it
really,
though.
Yeah, we're going to record it. So that's going to be like a separate little, a bunch of little like companion videos that we're going to put out. But it is, it's music, tape recorded, or have somebody read it to you. That would be, I think, pretty fun. That's basically what we're going to do is we're going to read it to you. And then, focusing attention, you really focus on the heart, your higher self. You be very specific to the colors and scents and things that come around your heart area and your sacred space, and that's going to be a very important part, I think, of this process. Is just running those meditations over and over and over until we're comfortable and really, really feeling the come of what they do. Now, I find it interesting, like people who are very experienced are going to want to do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And because I feel that way, I kind of want to do my own. Like, I don't want to do hers. I want to do the way I know to do it. But I am going to commit to doing it exactly the way she has it written because I want to know that's a different way for me, something new to learn.
Yeah. I like the tips in there too about when you were talking about ritual for meditation, trying to pick consistent times, consistent places. She talks about dusk and dawn, I think, or yeah, as very tranquil kind of times. Other tips she says is to light candles or incense, and that kind of helps signal your mind and unconscious that you want it to cooperate and honor your sacred space and sacred work that you're trying to do. I can see
before
that.
we go in, I can too. And before we go into the journaling, I'm going to leave you to end us out on journaling because I think that's something that's important. I need to do more of it, but I'm pretty good at it for the most part. I keep that process going. But I wanted to kind of share one of the things that was important to me to learn early on and is important in a lot of practice is the idea of protection or protectum bubble or putting your walls up or your bubble up, right? And it is a practice that I've done many times. I still do it when I know things are going to be difficult or if I'm stepping into a difficult situation. I will bubble up is what I call it. And you will get to a place where you can actually associate in your mind a certain phrase or a certain word that will allow you to immediately hit that state. And that comes over that repetitive time. So the same way that we're journaling here, that we're meditating here and doing the grounding and centering, it gets quicker and quicker. You can get to that place faster. And I literally have a phrase that I say to myself before I go into a difficult situation where I know I need extra energetic bubbling. And what it does is it allows me to quickly take a deep breath, say my phrase or my buzzword for myself that I have set in practice over time, that I've associated these two things together. And then when I go into those tough situations, I am already prepared. My heart rate is already lowered. My blood pressure is lowered. My response is more muted. And when I don't do that, or when something comes out without known, my reaction is very different. So I just think that that's something that's very interesting. If you want to learn how to do protection magic and bubble magic, I call it bubbling. A lot of people call it bubbling. That's kind of an easy way to picture it because I literally picture a energy bubble around me. And that visualization is very helpful, but there's lots of resources online that can help you with that.
The sky is really pretty behind you, by the way. I
I
don't know if you
know.
can see it.
I can. It
That's a
is
good way
pretty.
to meditate too. That's beautiful. Virginia had some beautiful sunsets, and Florida,
Beach.
southwest Florida has beautiful sunsets, even from our neighborhood. The peaches, the oranges, the pinkest pinks, purple. It's beautiful.
And like you said, flames is a good one. I can really meditate on a flame, a candle flame.
Oh yeah,
It's a
yes,
big one.
yeah. You can kind of just get lost
So,
in it by
hmm
looking. But journaling, it's something that I've recently started um, through therapy, and it's a little bit different through shadow work. You know, my assignment for journaling is my big issue was work, like intruding or how I perceive it or allow it to intrude on personal time. And so every time I'm off or on my time and I get a call from work, think about work, get frustrated at work, whatever the case may be, I'm supposed to write it down as a record of it because that applies to shadow work because the journaling allows you to see the journey of and a process of self-discovery, right? It's a journaling and shadow work is a memoir of your shadow work. You want to make regular entries. Um, it allows you to put your innermost thoughts into words without fear of criticism. So maybe there's certain things you shouldn't say, and we know we shouldn't say them, but we can journal them, and that allows us to get it out and to process and think about it, and maybe even think, "Well, God, I don't really feel that way about it," but it lets you process your thoughts. It's
Yeah,
a
I've found that there's a couple of things like when I get really frustrated with something and I'll call somebody like, "Oh my God, that blah blah is such a freaking idiot," and I'll almost immediately be like, "I don't really think she's an idiot. She's not an idiot at all. Why am I saying that?" And I always found that that was a very interesting thing to kind of recognize out of journaling. Now I keep multiple journals. I have a journal for crystals, a journal for divination, one for the new Norse teachings that I'm trying to learn more about for myself and kind of reinterpreting the runes and things like that. Um, and then I have one for just general journaling to talk about. And I have a shadow journal. So I have a lot of journals all over the place. And I think, over the years, I used to have tons of them. A lot of them have unfortunately are no longer in existence, which sucks, but it's a
yeah.
huge part of this.
It's a good idea, especially if you're like me and I get off track very easy. It's part of ADHD and just personality. Might want to set aside a specific time, day of the week or time of the day, however often you do it, to write about shadow. But entries should be done on a regular basis. I like this one point. So if you're really going and you journal a lot, or you are this particular day, and you make an entry in the morning, and go back later, at lunch or later in the day, she recommends to use different ink for each one. Date each entry and time each entry, and it can also help to do it in different colors. I kind of think the different colors might throw me off, but it'd be cool to try.
Yeah, and remember the whole purpose of the different colors isn't really every day in a different color. It's if you go back and add a new thought to a previous entry
Ah,
so that you can identify the difference between what you originally wrote. At least that's what I was taught. So you tell the difference between what you originally wrote and how you think about it now. Like I do that. Like I'll go back like I wrote this whole thing about X, Y, and Z and A, B, and C. I'm like, I have no clue what I was even talking about there. This is what it ultimately happened, and I got through it this way. So it's kind of like a self-reflection practice. Again, that might not be the same thing, but it just reminds me of that. Like that's what we were told to do is go back with a different color ink and read something you wrote maybe a year ago or even a couple days ago or months ago, and you can write new notes on it, leave a little space like, huh, that was weird. Can't believe I thought that. Or, oh, I was very aggressive there. And be able to be honest with yourself about how you feel about that. It's like, I was really mean to that person and I didn't need to be in what I wrote or whatever the case may be.
that
So,
makes sense. And
yeah.
the dating part, she talks about, this can provide a record of emerging shadow patterns. Like you can see the progression through time. For some people, journaling can bring out that professional help or therapy is needed. If
Yeah.
you that automatic writing or revealing through the journaling process can be a way to realize that you need some therapy.
And can I say that therapy is always a good idea? But journaling
Always.
and shadow work can help you determine that you actually do need to to do that. So if you're thinking, I'm doing shadow work, I don't ever need therapy, that's not appropriate. That may be true, but it will benefit you. Um, just make sure that you're paying attention to what you're doing, what you're seeing, so that you don't, you know, kind of lose out on that. You
And
see the reflection of my light; it looks really weird.
it almost looks like a cloud there.
Yeah.
But
Oh
journaling
God,
can,
look how red that is.
that's really
Like it's
pretty.
all orange and blue. Pretty. Sorry.
I know I was just
Shiny nickel.
saying, my last point was that journaling can help connect your conscious and unconscious mind, which is where shadow resides.
Jungian psychology for the win.
But I'm excited. I think we're probably in the next chapter or two getting ready to get into the spreads. We're going to work on our own meditations this week, record them. We're going to get our shadow altars completed and pop up some pictures of those in the next
Yep.
video or so.
Yep. I am so excited about that. I will tell you too, like along with the shadow work stuff, I have been reading some adjunct Jungian psychology and style books, and I am reading one currently right now, Brad. I have the one that you have. Well, I gave it to you to read. Really good. It's very
Can I show
directed,
it?
but the one I'm reading, yeah, the one I'm reading now, it's like there's a couple of statements and things there even in there that's insane. Um, I'm reading the law, like the a little book about your shadow or a book about your little shadow, something like that by I think it's Richard Bly. I keep forgetting, and like I have so many things in there that are circled. Like this is very interesting and how all of these things are connected together. Um, uh, it's very nice. So, but yeah, no, we can make some of those other recordings. I'm super excited about that. Very
Yeah.
excited about getting out. We finally got our Elements episode out, which is weird because it came out at the same time that Joy's working on her Elements class. We did not plan that.
Yeah.
This has been in the
No.
works for months, and we just sat on it forever
And we ended up
and decided
scrapping
to
the
redo it.
first one. We scrapped
Yeah.
the first one completely. We did it. It just didn't have, and for whatever reason, every weekend for like months, we had like, we need to get that Elements video done. We need to get our Elements
Yep.
video done, and just never did it. It's because we weren't supposed to do it until now.
Yep. And now it's out, so we'll be having those videos coming out too. Well, that one's already out. The specifics will be out next, and then Yeah, I'm excited to continue the shadow work stuff. This has been just the first two chapters of preparation has been very calming and resetting to me. It's been very
Agreed.
I don't know. I feel like I'm just slowly sliding into a better place, and I know it's
I
going to be tough because I've done it before and continue to do it, but it's worth it.
I'm excited to record the meditation videos. It's a different project than we've done, and
Yeah,
I look forward to it.
yeah. We might get some other people to record them too, and end up with a whole bunch of them.
Yaw.
What?
I said yaw.
Oh, they said, "Oh,
No, yaw. Like
uh,
oh.
my shadow's speaking."
And then I think
All right.
chapter three, we don't need to split it up, right? It's chapter three,
Yeah, chapter three is its own. It's 12 pages, I think.
the darkest
Um,
hour.
Yeah. So this is the nitty gritty and the meaty meat.
Oh,
I
I
don't want
got
to start it
chills.
though until we get those meditations done because I want to process through it that way.
Oh yeah.
So when we do the meditation videos, by the way, I do think um, this is just kind of talking about it. I think we will have a separate like an intermediate episode of our actual what we got out of it and what our experience was with it. So that's going to take some time to get that proper
Yeah, we
because we're
can't.
going to have to practice.
We're getting to a point where, we can't rush. We have to actually work the process. So the videos will
Hmm.
be done when our work is being done, kind of. So
Yep.
that'll dictate because we're documenting this.
Yeah, and they're a little backlog too. So the time we're making this is not the time it's released. So we'll be putting these out over time. I'm excited. But
Yep.
all right, well that's it for this week's episode of Eclipsing the Shadow.
Oh, that's good.